Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at data distribution and we're going to look at how to visualize it using a histogram. So here we go. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at data distribution, and so the first thing we're going to look at, so until now we've been looking at data sets where there's like a very small number of values, like say 5 or 10 values at max. But in real life, then there's like hundreds, like sometimes thousands, there's a lot of data. So if I just comment this bit out for the time being, again, we're referring to W3 schools for this. So this is data distribution. So here we're using the NumPy module in Python to pick a total of 100 random numbers, or like float values basically, between 0.0 and 20.0. So if I, for example, run this, so what it's doing is taking like a random 100 different numbers. Okay, I forgot to print it. So sorry about that. But you're basically taking 100 random numbers, or like, yeah, numbers from between 0 and 20. So now when we print it, each time we're going to get a different set. So here we have 100 of these, and you can see all of them are between 0 to 20. And okay, so the first one we get here right now is 10.3. Now if I run it again, then you can see it's random, so this time it's 3.0. So basically every time you get 100 different numbers between 0 and 20. Then we can just change it based on however we want it. So we can say we want 150 different numbers between them. Then we get 150 different numbers. Or if we say we want to take it to 25, then we get 150 numbers between 0 and 25. So that's basically how we're creating the data sets and printing it. Then what we're going to do is, because this is a bit hard to read and understand, like if you want to distribute it and see how the data is changing. So instead we're going to be using a histogram, which is basically a way of like distributing data. So here now if I run it, then we're going to get another 150 random numbers. And as you can see over here, we got a graph. So here, for example, we have 35, so the maximum, the value, or like, yeah. So here, this is basically like we're using an array, or like all of the list of numbers that we're getting from this. And if we look at how to read it, then between 0 to 5, we're basically getting, or there's like this first bar over here. This is basically how many values are in the array that are between 0 and 5. Then this is how many of them are between 5 and 10. Then between 10 and 15, 15 and 20, and 20 and 25. So then you can see every time we do this, the results are going to vary. So if the graph looks like this right now, and now if we run it again, you can see this time the graph looks rather different. So based on whatever numbers we get here, it's basically putting it into, or plotting it into a histogram. And to do that, we're using the matplotlib module, which you basically have to install, and like in Python. So I've installed and then we're using it, and then here we can basically make as many of these as we want. So I can say I want 10. And now if you run it, stop and rerun. Now if we run it, then we will get, yeah. So here we're now getting between, as you can see. So now the graph looks different. So you can basically decide how many ever bins you want. And here you decide the lowest number or the minimum, the maximum, and then how many numbers between them you want. So this is basically how we're doing data distribution here.